So with this MS flare-up, I was obviously very sick. So people could see that I was ill. People knew what was going on. And they felt really bad for me. And this bothered me because I didn't feel bad for myself. I've got this disease. I'm struggling now physically, but that doesn't mean that I'm unhappy about it. The main thing is that I'm still alive, and that's the only thing that's actually important. So even though I may be sick and weak and not saying much, I'm not necessarily depressed or sad or upset that I should be outside enjoying this and this or whatever. It's just you take what you can get and you're happy with that. And so when I would mention this to people, they would be concerned, and I didn't want them to be concerned, so I tried to ease their pain by saying, no, it's okay, like I'm fine, I'm doing okay. Anyway, I'm ready to die, which made everything a lot worse. Because to me, this is the most essential, most important part of this mind state. When I say I'm ready to die, it means that I have dealt with my life. I have closed the chapters. There's nothing I need to go out there and become, and there's nothing that I need to do or need to see or have to be, or people that I need to sleep with or whatever may come to mind. I don't have that anymore at all. So every day after the day, it may not be very eventful, but I am happy in myself. I'm happy with how far I've come, more or less, or what I've just been privileged to enjoy. I'm super happy with what I was just lucky enough to enjoy, even if it wasn't very much. Like, I am not striving for better, greater, anything like that. So when I said to people, no, it's okay, I'm ready to die, I meant I've already made it this far, like if I die now, it's not that bad. Which puts the whole MS thing into perspective, because if I'm ready to die now, I've actually got a few more years left. So, like, this sounds like it's a pretty good deal to me. I don't, like, there's no, in my mind, there's no version where I don't have MS. Because that's just a fantasy. That's not going to help me. That's not going to make me feel better about my situation. The only thing that makes me feel better about my situation is enjoying every single day to the fullest and living my life to the best of my abilities, no matter how impaired, no matter how little I see, it doesn't make any difference anymore. So, like, if I think back about it now, this was almost a month ago, and I was pretty happy to die then. So, like, I'm just going like, yeah, man, I just had another month. Like, that's my life now. So I'm not thinking, oh, I'm not gonna be an 80-year-old sitting on a stoop chatting about my life. If I'm not gonna get that, that's okay, whatever. Like, I could be dead already. And this being so happy, no, it's not that I'm suicidal. It doesn't mean that I want to die. It just means that I'm content with the life I'm living right now. I've had a few occasions in my life where I had an accident where I was sure I'm dead. So I remember almost getting hit by a car once. That was the closest, probably. I was walking on a zebra crossing, so I was just minding my own business and somebody came up speeding and almost hit me. And I remember this was probably about 5 years ago. And when that happened, I didn't have this. I did have a little bit more drive for life, or I was a little bit more elated to be alive, and, you know, I needed to grab life, like, really did. This was before I found Krishnamurti, so I'm laughing at it now because it made a big difference for me then, but it's nowhere near the difference of finding the truth to your own life, where it's just incredible. Anyway, so when I had this sense, when that happened, I had this sense of, but I've got all this to do and this to do, and sort of like a little bit of pressure, and it was like maybe a little bit of depression about how shitty I'm living. It wasn't the same sort of, it was like a bit mournful, like a bit like, oh, you almost died and you're not even living, sort of like, you may as well kill yourself now. That's probably the sort of attitude that I would have had back then. And it's completely different now, because now with the MS, there was one, I'm gonna do a separate video about this, because I did have suicidal feelings from the disease, from the illness, from the way I was feeling. But if I knew it was from that, it was a foreign, strange feeling. But there was a moment where I just went, why the hell do you want to continue living when this is your future, feeling like this is your future? And luckily, like, I always got, like, if I always try and push it aside, and I always note to self, these suicidal feelings are always just a phase. So I've had them so many times throughout my life. So normally it's always like 2 to 3 days where it's like the only thing that makes sense is suicide. And then I just go like one more day, one step at a time, and then it slowly goes away. And there it was like I was literally laying in bed, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like in pain, and everything. It wasn't very nice. And I was just, oh, it may be smarter to end it now. And now I'm just laughing at those feelings, because I knew at the time, this is not real, I'm not going to kill myself, I don't feel like killing myself, this isn't just medication or the illness. Like, it is a brain disease, so it makes sense. Anyway, like, even if I can't do much, even if I can't see much, like, I'm really happy with the life I'm living now. So even though it's a lot less eventful than what I used to think life should be like, I'm just happy seeing a bird or a butterfly or skateboard tricks or meeting my friends or a nice hug. And that, you know, those small little things are enough to make your day. And I sort of mentioned this before, I don't think I would have started these videos and podcasts if it weren't for the MS diagnosis. Because I'm the sort of person that needs solid evidence and proof to be completely 100% sure. And as I had the diagnosis, and I didn't really have that much, like, I didn't spend time thinking about my life and my future being gone, or the pain I'm gonna feel, or the, you know, any of the drama. I didn't spend much time thinking about that at all, because I was already free. So even though there was like, a brief reflex moment of like, oh my God, I'm gonna die and go blind and die in a wheelchair or whatever. It was only a brief moment, and then I went out and went skateboarding. Like, nothing happened. And I accepted it. I wasn't running from it. I just accepted, okay. Like, I saw the brain scan, I knew this was true. And I was sort of fine with it. And the threat of the impending, what is going to happen, and am I going to go blind? Am I going to wake up not being able to walk? Am I going to piss myself? Like, you know, it's a real thing that I will have to deal with. But I didn't, because I didn't have to deal with it yet. And I had the 3 best years of my life, to be honest. Like, living every day, not giving a toss about anything, and just having a ball. So I don't, like, those 3 years of my life were more than enough for me to die happy, for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. And I would never have gotten that. So even though I had the MS diagnosis, I had the 3 best years of my life. And none of that would have been possible if I hadn't faced myself before. if I hadn't dealt with my life before and freed myself. So this freedom, so this was my solid evidence, or my solid proof, to be honest, because I just went, so if I can just brush off an MS diagnosis like that and just go on with life and be cool with it, I just went like, oh shit, like I think everybody can really, really benefit from doing this. Obviously everybody can benefit from freeing their mind. It's not magical, it's nothing supernatural, divine. It's nothing you need anybody for, because it's about you becoming the sincere you actually are. So without the ideas, beliefs, ego, none of that. And it's the, the unglorious thing of telling you, like, everything you're running from right now, you're going to be running from that all your life. And it's not until you look at them, go back in your mind and face them, that you can set yourself free, and you will become the sincere you become, like, you settle into the skin that you're actually in. You become the whole human being that you've been all along. And you can enjoy your life no matter what happens. And so, as much as I wouldn't want to have, like, I'd prefer not to have MS, I am sort of going like, I really sort of needed the evidence, so I needed the proof to go out there and talk to you. If you knew me, you would knew how, like, this is not something I would do in real life. So, recording videos and promoting whatever. I'm not promoting anything anywhere. I'm just trying to think of things that I can try and explain to you so that you can do the same. All I did was listen to Krishnamurti, and it made sense. I looked at my own life and it allowed me to free myself. So even in sickness and in health, this will be more loyal than anything ever in the world. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll be coming back slowly and talking about things. Thank you very much for listening. One love.